Hello, everybody. Welcome to Alan Stories. I'm your host, Alan, and today I just wanted to go over um, kind of like my way of preparing for a new campaign. In our D&D group, we're wanting to wrap up by the end of the year, and so we decided to do another campaign. But we're going to go straight cadre system. We're not going to be doing D&D anymore. It'll just be cadre system. So I wanted to go over how I prepare for a campaign. And this will not incriminate me as the game master because all of this is going to be Citral common knowledge. This is going to be what the characters know. So I try to get this all figured out before I even start coming up with a lot of the story, because this is like the flesh of it, in my opinion. So I always put the continent map that I know they're going to be on, and this time it's going to be Citral. We've only been on Citral one time with a one shot, but this time we're going to play a whole campaign here, and I am so excited. Um, so let's get started. Over here on the left, I do this in Google Docs, but I know some people don't like Google Docs, but this is my doc of choice. But over in the left, I have an outline where I can go in, and there are, on this continent, the main races are humans, elves, dwarves, one Scorpidite village up here in the desert, but for the most part, it's humans, elves, and dwarves. There's a lot of other races in there. It is a mixing pot, but the majority are going to be these three races. So I take and I put down each city's name. Well, this city, this is a city, and then the rest are all large towns or small towns. So I get all the names down, and then I choose some locations. So like the Kumari Waste is right here. You have the Crefton Desert, Talon Wood. Oh, you guys can't see it. Sorry. Crefton, Talon Wood, Crag Point Wood, Crag Point Mountain Range, the Swelling Swamp. So I get locations, because these are going to be maybe not important to the story, but it'll be important to the sandbox feel of the continent. Like, I want to know as much about these locations as humanly possible, so that if they visit them, I don't have to scramble to look at notes. I just have them. I always have this open during a session while I game master. And then groups. This is super important. Just so that I know who's in the area and what their plans are. I don't put what their plans are in this doc, but this is the common knowledge. And so any groups that would be under common knowledge, like the Seekers Guild, the Merchants Guild, the Natia Syndicate, the Crefton Nomads, and the Crag Point Nomads, if there's any rumors about them that people would hear about, that it would be common knowledge to know about these groups, I put it in here. And I'll go over that in a little bit. But after that, I went down and I figured out how many people would be in a village, how many people would be in a small town, how many people would be in a large town. And I didn't just pull these numbers out of my butt. I Googled this. A village has anywhere from 100 to 1,000. A city has anywhere from 100,000 to over 1,000,000. And then once it gets to that point, it's just multiple cities put together, and it becomes like a metropolis or There's other words for it that I can't remember, but that is just over 1 million. This is how you get those with a random die. I don't really advise using dice. As I was doing this, I realized that it is a bell curve, and so you're going to get a lot of fives, as you will see as I go down into the actual populations. And so then I came up with like points that I want to know about a city. So I want to know its size. I want to know how many. What is it? What's its population? What do I want? I want to know its race composition. Between common races, uncommon races, monster races, sea folk races, and alien races. Because on this continent, there actually are a few alien races. Well, there's one alien race. But then when I did the breakdown, this continent as a whole has 66.57% all elves, humans, and dwarves, pretty much. Which is a lot when you calculate out, nearly 3 million population. So, after I figure out races, I'm going to do what is this town or city known for? Like their mineral deposits, their farming, like what are they known for? Or is it are they known for a statue in the area? Or are they known for monster attacks or ghosts or haunted areas? Like what is this place known for? Who is their leader? And in this continent, that's not so important for most of the villages, but in the city's case, I would know their leader. What is their protections? Like, do they have city watch? Do they have a watcher? Do they have a seeker? So what is their protection in terms of like walls and siege equipment? Like if somebody or something were to attack this place, what would be their main line of defense? So those are your protections. What are their challenges? If you don't do challenges, I found that the city or the villages, they don't feel real if they don't have problems. As dumb as that sounds, like, hey, Alan, this is a fantasy world. Everything should be perfect. It's like, no. Everything is going to have their challenges. Like, are they going to be in a famine right now? Are they going to be under attack or under siege by bandits? Like, what is their problem that the adventurers might be able to solve as maybe not part of the campaign, but just out of the kindness of their heart? And I know some people do have a heart while playing tabletop role-playing games. It's hard to believe. But sometimes I feel like when we play and as I GM, I think the reason that people go murder hobo is because that's all we throw at them. We just throw bad guys at them. We throw bandits at them. We throw goblins at them. We throw orcs at them. And then over time, they just realize that the game, D&D or Cadrian or whatever, is to kill things. Like, that is the game to them. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like there could be so much more to a role-playing game, if you know what I mean. And so, giving them problems to solve with something other than a sword or their fist is going to be huge in a transformation from murder hobo to an actual person that is willing to help people instead of just stab them for their money. And then what are their productions? Like, what do they produce? Is it farm stuff like cattle, or is it more exotic and they have tamed some monsters that they use their tusks to get ivory or anything like that. So that's your production. So once I know all of those things and write them out, I'll send this to the players. And so now, instead of them just guessing at things or asking the game master, "Hey, would I know this?" Which is good. I want them to ask that because there's a lot of things that I can't just put in a doc that they would know. Because I don't know everything that's going to come up in the session, but this is going to be like the common knowledge. Everybody knows that uh, Quaindale has around 700,000 people. Like, it's a big city. Um, and just like looking at it, people can guesstimate that there's around 40% common people, and then there's 8% sea folk. You're going to see crustacean folk, cetacean folk. Like, you're going to see this and be able to just innately guess. It's like, well, okay. So that's why I come up with this common knowledge stuff. So that I don't have to constantly be like, okay, this is a breakdown, and these are my notes. They can go in and actually look at this on their phone mid-session. I actually encourage them to look at it mid-session. It's like they're going to, let's say, Zandolf, which is a dwarven city with 600,000 population. Like, they'll be able to know about this city, even though the dwarves are going to be a little more secretive, but they're going to have that common knowledge. Then I'll write about the different locations and what the people and what are the rumors of this area. And then groups. Don't judge my drawing. I did this all on my phone, and now that I'm looking at it on my computer, these are horrible. They looked really good on my phone. Wow, those are really bad. Okay, so then I'll grab the groups. So we have the Seekers Guild, and then I'll break it down. I know how the Seekers Guild works. I know there is around 130,000 of these people. I'll write where the HQ is. It's called the Eye's Bounty. The symbol is a gold bag with an eye in the center with sunbeams on top of the eye. Whoops. I tried to go through this and make sure there wasn't any misspellings, but apparently I missed one. So if you can't tell, this is a bag with an eye and there's beams on it. This is a representation of the patch that you would see on somebody in the guild. So the more sunbeams you have is your rank. So the main guild itself has this as its symbol. A lot better, okay? I will get it done better. But high seekers, these are like the main people. And I write down how many there are, their names underneath there, their jobs, what they do. Underneath them, you have the Seekers or the High Watchers. There are 7 of them, so I write down their names. Their symbol only has 3 beams instead of 4. You can't tell, but that's what it is. Their jobs, what they do. Then the Watchers, they have 2 beams. There are around 150 of these people. I'm not going to write down all their names because they don't need to know. It's not common knowledge, even within the guild, to know all of these people. But they are trained and experienced. Like, these are their jobs. That way, so they get a grasp on what they're doing. This campaign, they are going to be in the investigators. That's going to be their job. So they're going to be inside of this guild. So they're going to know all of this common knowledge. If they weren't inside this guild, I wouldn't give them all this common knowledge because it's not like it's there, but they're not going to know exactly what these people do. Investigators, there's 13, and they're going to be part of this 13 investigators. But they specialize in detective work, spying, and infiltration. An investigator will meet with a group of young people and who wish to apprentice under them, and they'll just mentor them. Okay, so I put all this in here so that they can read it and understand why things are working the way they do. And their patch is a beam below and a beam above, which is similar to watchers, so that's like their rank is in authority pretty much. But the investigators actually have less authority than the watchers. That's why there's a beam below and not two above. Then you have the wanderers. There's like 615 of those. These are common folk or mercenaries who would like to join the guild, pretty much. Those are wanderers. And then City Watch, they have one beam above for their ranking, and there's 130,000 of these. These are like your common police force. This is your policing force within the city and towns. And so I give them this breakdown, and I just wanted to show you guys like how I break it down, so that they can have this. Merchants Guild, you don't need to put a whole lot. Like, they wouldn't know unless they were part of it. There's around this many. They're broken into 3 groups. And then the Natia Syndicate, this is the main problem that this continent has, is this 36,000 people in this syndicate, this gang, this group of evildoers, pretty much. I knew it. Okay. And so then I break down, like, since they are in the investigators, their mentor would have been able to understand and break down what he knows about this group. So he knows that there's the Cobras, who are like the leaders, the head of the snake. And then you have the Daggers, who are like their assassins, and then the Coins. They're their espionage and theft people. And then at the very bottom, I have the Nomads. And I'll write down like how many people they estimate to be in those groups, and if you should avoid them. Best to be if avoided. So yeah, that is my breakdown of how I start a campaign. It's a lot of information, but I feel like it will benefit the players to have all of this information so that I don't have to constantly remind them what's going on. Like, this will allow me to focus on my notes and what I'm doing. That, because I've already got a lot. Like, we're switching to a new system, so now it's my job to help them with the system, not just the map and the area. Like, they're gonna have all of this. So I hope this helps you gain some ideas on where to start. Like, when you're starting a new campaign, like, I get it. Like, it's a lot to sit down and figure out what you want and what you want your players to know and what you know. I sat down with my wife a little while ago and was like, "Hey, can you help me design clothing for this continent? Like, this is the temperatures. Like, this is kind of how the seasons work." And she started asking questions about cotton and flax and wool accessibility, and I was like, I've never thought about that. I was like, man, I feel really dumb that I wear clothing as part of my life. Like, I've been wearing clothing for 28 years, and I didn't know where this stuff came from. So I felt really dumb not knowing those things about this continent, which I know the most about. Out of all the continents in kal'jaru, I know the most about this, and she floored me. I had no idea about any of those things. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, outsource. Okay? There's people around you who know weird things um, about stuff. Like, find specialists in your life. Like, if I want to know about armor or weapons, I go to Russell. If I want to know about clothing and the word is slipping my mind, but clothing and the kind of like economics, but not like economics, but um, culture. There we go. If I want to know about clothing and culture, I'll go to my wife because she's researched that, and she knows a lot about like medieval and all of those different cultures and eras of clothing and how it affected their culture and like the hierarchy and stuff. And it's absolutely amazing. And so like I outsource. Like I don't just know all of this stuff. I do know a lot, but for the most part, like go to people who know stuff and they can help you flesh this out. So those are my tips. Know the continent yourself. Let your players know the continent and what would be common knowledge, and go from there. I'll probably do another video of when I'm actually preparing what I know as the game master. That one will be a little bit trickier to not let my players know what's going on because this is accessible to anybody and everybody. So, hope this helps. Okay? So, enjoy. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave it in the comment section. And until next time, adventure on.